Hello and welcome again to the Writer Review. This is Eric Corrupt Writer, and this week we're going to be taking a look back at the 1996 movie titled A Time to Kill. Now, A Time to Kill was a courtroom drama that runs for 2 hours and 29 minutes long, and it's directed by Joel Schumacher, and it was written by Akiva Goldsman based on a novel by John Grisham. And this movie has an all-star cast in it, including Matthew McConaughey in one of his breakthrough performances, Charles Dutton, Sandra Bullock, Oliver Platt, Donald Sutherland, Kiefer Sutherland, Chris Cooper, Ashley Judd, Patrick McGoohan, Emmet, Walsh, and of course the star of the show, Samuel L. Jackson. Now, there are a lot of deeming factors that make A Time to Kill one of the most important films to watch. It's not a film for entertaining purposes by any means of the imagination, but it's still an intriguing story, which stars Samuel L. Jackson playing the part of Carl Lee Haley, a vengeful African-American man who killed two rednecks who have raped and nearly killed his 10-year-old daughter Tanya, played by Raven Larimore Kelly. It all comes down to rookie hotshot lawyer Jake Brigance, played by Matthew McConaughey, to prevent Mr. Haley from either serving a long-term prison sentence or, even worse, be put to death. And, you know, knowing that the setting of the movie is in the deep south of the United States, Clinton, Mississippi, of course, you know that there's going to be a lot of racial tensions, as, of course, one of the two rednecks has a vengeful brother, Freddie Lee Cobb, played by Kiefer Sutherland, who, of course, wants to send his message straight across to the prosecutor who's defending Mr. Haley, Jake. And of course, with a black person accused of murdering two white guys, we know that chaos will erupt and that the infamous Ku Klux Klan will also be making a high impact appearance in this movie as well. What did I think of the performances in the movie? The acting in A Time to Kill is actually very well performed, and it's done by a large ensemble of very talented performers. The leading performances by Matthew McConaughey and Samuel L. Jackson are both engaging and quite colorful, and even at times a bit disturbing. What I mean by disturbing is that, you know, in some ways Carl Lee Haley does not show any kind of sympathy or remorse for his own actions, let alone the principal antagonists show no sympathy or remorse for what they've done. You know, it's kind of sometimes a bit hard at times to measure who is the less of two evils, because of the underhanded tactics both protagonist and antagonist had committed. Okay, rounding out the other characters, the supporting performers also turn in some very compelling roles, and the movie kind of moves along quite nicely at a steady, respectable pace. Kevin Spacey shines as the opposing attorney, who is not really in it for his job, but for glory, sort of almost like a brown-noser, just to find his way to get to the top. So in some ways, you know, you may respect him in some ways, and you may not necessarily respect him because he's on the opposite end of the courtroom drama. But, you know, his charisma as a performer is something that everyone respects in Kevin Spacey. You know, whenever Kevin Spacey is in a movie, I mean, you're going to be bound to see just how methodical he is as a performer, and here he just never ceases to amaze me. Sandra Bullock was also brilliant as Brigant's assistant, and she's a fellow law student named Ellen Rourke. And even though Brigant was reluctant to take Rourke in as his assistant, their friendship progressively builds up. And I think she played a very important, vital role in helping Brigant acquit this troubled soul, this troubled Cara Lee some slack. And I think she actually played a pivotal role in that format. Kiefer Sutherland was definitely excellent as the leading antagonist, the unashamed, bigoted, vengeful-minded brother of one of the rapists who was killed by Carl Lee Haley, Freddie Lee Cobb. To wrap up this all-star cast, there's some many great performers here, including Charles S. Dutton, who's a African-American sheriff in the town, in a racial-induced town of Clanton. Donald Sutherland as a former attorney who was disbarred for a confrontation with the cops. His name was Lucien Wilbanks, I believe his last name was. I'm not sure. Chris Cooper was also in it too. Ashley Judd, Oliver Platt, Patrick McGoohan, and a cameo appearance from Emmet Walsh. Alright, now, before I continue on, I just want to say that I am not a racist by any means of the imagination. If you want to know my ethnic background, I have a mixed combination of Native American blood. I also have some mixed Scottish and English blood in me as well. And if you ever looked at my nose, that's right, I also have a little bit of black blood in me too. So I am not in any way, shape or form a racist. But still, however, the philosophy of the KKK stated is not really all that ignorant or narrow-minded by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, I think it's actually pretty well documented. And as a member of the human race, as long as we live on this earth, hate is injected in all of us. Alright? Nobody is made out of stone. We are all designed and programmed to inflict hate. No matter what. Regardless of skin color, religion, orientation, creed, or even just simple physical flaws. We at times can be quite vocal and not always showing sympathy for the victims who we chastise, who we ostracize, who we condemn. We have the power and the ability to inflict verbal, physical, and cyber hurt on everyone. We're not perfect. Bigotry is in all of us. If a person dresses differently, we will likely to laugh at them. If a person does things his or her ways, we ostracize them. If you have a birthmark in an obvious place, on our body, we will insult them. Everyone is capable of delivering hatred. It is in all of us. No one is safe from the wrath and hatred we inflict on each other. And, you know, people could deny it all they want, but that's the truth. Do I hate anybody in particular? No. But am I capable of hating a person? Well, to be frank, yes. Because it's in all of us. We don't live in a perfect society. And even more to this day, a lot of negativity and hatred seems to have skyrocketed more than compared to in the 50s and 60s. And the hatred and the message of hatred spread in this globe has increased substantially and universally. Okay, there's a lot to like in A Time to Kill. But however, the message here does not do any justice at all. First of all, I strongly oppose taking the law in our own hands or underhanded tactics like murder just to get even with someone. Okay, because that's exactly what Coralie Haley did. After the two rapists went to court, Coralie Haley did a major faux pas, and that is probably an understatement. It wasn't a major faux pas. This was actually a tactic that he did that was extremely unforgiving. He went out and he killed the two rapists. Yes, I know anger got the best of him, reflexes got the better of him. But if he wasn't careful and he missed his mark and he would have ended up killing an innocent bystander, how would you react to that? You know, it's lucky he got his mark, but also at the same time he also wounded somebody to the point where he had to get his leg amputated. So, you know, it's hard to show very much empathy for Coralie Haley. And also, I think that the message here about condoning vigilantism is totally unjustified. I mean, if this was based on a true story, I think ending up acquitting Coralie Haley would be a sense of injustice. I expect Law and Order to be handled in a very unbiased perspective, with no excuses. Haley's tactics was cold-blooded and unnecessary. Just because he remembers two bigoted people who raped another 10-year-old and they got away with it, he thinks that, you know, no, not this time. I'm gonna kill those two motherfuckers. And I'm going to give revenge served on a dish cold in their own blood. Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Haley. Regardless of your skin color, what you did was not any better. In fact, I think what you did was maybe worse, because your daughter is still alive, even though she won't be able to have any more children. She won't be able to have any children in the future. But you took the lives away from two people. Yes, they may deserve some justice, but not justice in your own hands. He should have just sued the rapists in court before going on a killing spree. Now look, I'm sorry for what happened to his daughter, but he is not entirely innocent for what he did. I believe some restitution should have been taken care of. But overall, this was another wonderful adaptation of John Grisham's novel, brilliantly directed by Joel Schumacher. It's a fascinating film with wonderful performances, and it will have you pondering for hours, giving your thoughts and opinions of those around you. I just don't feel that it's encouraging to get people to get even with someone by taking revenge in your own hands, by doing something regretful, let alone exposing those. And maybe I think the message that came across was pretty gritty, to be honest with you. So that kind of ends my review for John Grisham's A Time to Kill. Thank you for listening, and please write to me back. I'd love to hear from you all. Take care of yourselves, and have a good day.